And we were wondering if that was an actual, like, real science.
I'm assuming it's not, or maybe it is. Maybe they just copied and pasted it. I know.
It all goes over my head.
Me too. I read the words on the page, so.
So how is Caroline coping in the upcoming episodes, having just lost Tyler and also having Jesse on this, this sort of backup choice?
On the back burner, if you will.
Who's also going through something major.
I've loved where the writers have taken these characters in their human moments so far in their transition into growing up and into being a freshman in college. So I love that Caroline has experienced her first real big breakup, and Tyler was her first true love. And so she's heartbroken, but she's strong, and I think that she's just trying to put on a happy face, because she hasn't been happy. I like that the season started off with Elena actually being the cheery one who's like, come on, there's a party, let's get dressed up, let's go do fun things. And Caroline was a little bit more tortured and was like, no, I just want to wait for Tyler, and I don't want to, she wasn't as spontaneous as we've seen her in the past, and she wasn't as bright and as bubbly. So I think she's trying to find that in herself again when we come into the next episode.
Sorry, just to follow up, is Jessie gonna seek out her help?
Yes. I'm trying to, have you seen an episode ahead of 6?
We haven't even seen 6.
6 hours tonight.
Oh, 6 hours tonight. What was the how did that end? I'm so sorry. I thought that, I'm thinking what you're talking about I thought happened in a later episode.
Maxfield said that he was like a good candidate.
Yeah. We're not sure what happens
gotcha.
tonight. Is there anything?
No, that parallels things. Okay. So yes. So where we leave off with Jesse, Caroline, where we leave off with Jesse, he's obviously a bit tied up, but Caroline will start to worry about where he is. That's what I got. That's the easiest way I can put it in a complete sentence.
So going back to the breakup between Caroline and Tyler, what was it like filming that scene? Because up until now, they've kind of broken up, but then kind of gotten back together, but this time it seems very final.
This time it does seem very final for Caroline and Tyler. And filming the scene was really great. I mean, it was very, I think, it was written in a way that the words came out of your mouth very easily, and breakups are always hard, and I think especially when you're angry and you're breaking up with someone, especially when it's like the 4th time, it feels like you've already broken up, and you're kind of almost past emotional, and you're just so angry and you're so desperate, and you just want to stomp your feet and cry and go, don't do that. And you want to control the situation so bad, but you just can't. And I think it paralleled a lot I think Caroline and Tyler's relationship has been the one thing that Caroline hasn't been able to control. Since she's become a vampire, she's able to control her thirst for blood very easily. She's able to kind of control herself and not feed on people and teach people how to take control of their own lives. But it just seems like this is the one part of her life where she can't get any control, and it's the only part she really wants to. So I think this is the beginning of her kind of just not necessarily spiraling, but searching and not being as strong and as confident as we've seen her in the past.
Any chance she'll search for some of that control with Stefan?
Caroline and Stefan have become great friends over the past couple seasons, and even though maybe from an audience perspective there's some great, very easy moments with them together in which they could be looked at as chemistry, I don't think that the characters in their world see it as that. To Caroline, Stefan is just a friend and a companion, and Elena's one true love. She wants Stefan and Elena to be together. She does not like Damon. She hates Damon. She thinks Damon is the worst choice for Elena. And although she wants her friends to be happy, that's who I think down deep in her core she believes that should be together, Stefan and Elena.
Do you think that could ever change? Do you think she could ever see him in a different light, or is he just totally in the friend zone? Because there's a small contingent of Steroline fans.
I think if the writers see it being able to be changed, I think sure. I mean, it's television. I think it could go 1,000 different ways. You know, they could have a cousin come in town who could just sweep Caroline off her feet, and then everyone wants them to be together. It's the show's evolved so much, even in the 5 seasons, or at the beginning of each season. Sometimes we sit down with the writers and they'll kind of give us a breakdown of what to expect for a character for the year, and it always changes within like 2 episodes, and so there's always a possibility. And so I think it really just depends on where the writers see these characters going in their own journey. I've also found it really interesting with social media these days. So the writers have an immediate connection with the viewers and with the fans. And not that they're going to necessarily write episodes according to exactly what the viewers want, but obviously they know what they want at this point. It's very clear, and I have a feeling that sometimes the writers can be swayed to just, inspire the people watching your show. And so it's really interesting seeing how social media is also changing just how people working on a television series on that side of it is responding to what people want. If that makes any sense.
Is it hard to be neutral? Because I feel like Caroline, of all the characters, has the most like possible like relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Shipper.
Yeah.
So
Caroline's had a lot of relationships on this show. Yeah.
Do you feel like you have to be like diplomatic?
Kind of. I mean, I honestly, as long as I'm happy as long as the character is always evolving. As soon as she gets confident in herself, I hope that she, falls down and hits herself hard and has to get back up again. And as long as, her experiences can somewhat parallel. What I love about Caroline is that she feels like her experiences and what she goes through, I feel like, are very human, and I even relate to them a lot on the page. And her insecurities and how she says she gives her opinion when it's not asked, and how she sometimes does things without thinking about them, and how she's had to learn to take responsibility for her actions. So as far as her relationships go, I think as long as she's learning and growing or hurting, or as long as she's evolving in some sort of way emotionally, then I'm open. Because I love working with all those boys. And yeah, at this point I feel like everyone's almost made out with each other. So it's pretty funny, yeah.
Caroline's lost Tyler in a way because of Klaus. Is this just yet another strike in her eyes against him?
She has Caroline, yes, Caroline is definitely very aggressively against Klaus. I think if she hears the word Klaus one more time, she might rip her hair out. And so it was so interesting how their relationship built over the past couple seasons, because it's almost like she hated him so much that she didn't know if she wanted to just grab him by the throat, throw him through a door, or like just kiss him. And I think that was the awesome tension that the fans really loved about their chemistry, because you just couldn't tell. You're like, is she gonna smack him? Is she gonna like throw her arms around him? What's going on? But I feel like she just hates him. She absolutely hates him, and if he never comes back to Mystic Falls, it'll be too soon. And all she really wanted, and all I think she still wants, is to be with Tyler. And so I think that she's gonna just really focus on her. Not that I think. In the next coming episodes, we're gonna see her going through emotionally where she's going, sorry, I'm going to rephrase this and put my coffee farther away from me. In the next couple episodes, we're going to see Caroline go through what a girl goes through when she's broken up with by the love of her life. And that's really the focus on the next couple episodes, and even leading up to the big 100th, and whether or not there's other cute boys at college that catches her eye, and her trying to figure out what she really wants. And so that's really the focus of what's going on in the next couple episodes.
So she's not going to head over to New Orleans anytime soon.
That's been asked a lot. But at this point, I think, no, I know that at this point she will not be heading over to New Orleans anytime soon. I think there's always possibilities. Again, yeah, I don't know where the writers necessarily want to take it. And so she could, but right now she's really focused on her life at college and just picking up the pieces of her broken heart.
So speaking of college, who's better at beer pong, Caroline or Elena?
Like in real life, or the characters? Like, I'm terrible at beer pong, but I always think I'm really good. And I'm terrible. And Nina's a freak of nature. She ends up being good at everything. So I feel like maybe Elena would be better. But they're vampires, so they can do that kind of stuff.
Right.
They're just good at everything. That's why it'd be great.
It's a little unfair, but it would be
I know,
great to
it's
be a
very
vampire.
unfair. It'd make for a great, not party trick, but.
So are they going to go to class more in college than they went in high school?
I know. That's honestly, I think that's like, it was weird to be in a high school environment and have a show being shot with the characters in high school, but then you never see them in class. But what's made it really great is for the transition into college, you're not missing that kind of high school feel. Whereas being a fan of television that started off in high school, I feel like that's always a really painfully awkward transition into the college years. And you really, it takes a minute to adjust to almost like a whole new show because it's so different. And so the fact that all the characters aren't in college, some stay in Mystic Falls, not still at the Mystic Grove bar, and Damon and Stefan are still in Mystic Falls, and Jeremy's still at school, because of that, it's made for a really smooth transition into college life.
Well, sitting here in Dr. Maxfield's lab, is she going to kind of re-engage in that whole mystery?
Yes. Caroline, I think, is using the opportunity to get to the bottom of these vampire. Well, I'm trying to think, she hasn't learned. We're gonna see in the next episode, airing this week, Caroline teaming up with an unlikely partner to get to the bottom of the vampire experiments going on at Whitmore College.
And you're filming the 100th episode now. We know
Yes.
you can't reveal too much, but what can you tease or reveal for that big episode?
I can tease or reveal. The writers were really excited about this episode. I know Julie and Caroline have done so much to make this episode special, not just for everyone behind the scenes, as it has been, but for the viewers especially. So I think that they're really going to appreciate the 100th episode, and a lot of heart went into it, and I think that they really wanted to celebrate the fans with this episode. And I feel like that's the best I can do. I don't know, what kind of stuff are you guys releasing about the 100th episode?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna see
People return, it's not
familiar
really-
faces. Can't really get into who.
Yes.
We're gonna see. We're dealing with Catherine.
Okay, so I can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah,
Okay.
she's-
The 100th episode, we're really gonna have an opportunity to understand Catherine and in a new light, and it's a really great look at this character, and because if you really look at it, she's the root that has kind of started this whole. The only reason Stefan stopped in Mystic Falls was because he thought he saw Catherine. The only reason Damon returned to Mystic Falls is because he was looking for Catherine. The only reason Caroline's a vampire is because of Catherine. The only reason Damon and Stephanie ever became vampires was because of Catherine. So she's kind of the root, and then Elena is her doppelganger, and so it kind of all brings it together. And so we're just gonna get to know the root of this group in a new light, and we're gonna learn more about her and what she's going through as a human, and yeah. If we can somehow, if you can finish that sentence for me, that would be great.
Well, either with the clone machine or maybe as a doppelganger. I mean, are we going to see some other version of Caroline, maybe?
I don't think there's going to be another version of Caroline. I mean, I have no idea, because anything could happen on this show. I mean, whenever people die, we might see them again. You know what I mean? They don't always die. Now we can see the dead, or Bonnie and Jeremy can see the dead.
Well, it's just Caroline sort of thrives on these costume parties.
Yes.
And so that's something that Caroline, like, I feel like the character misses out on, is she seems like she would really love the period pieces, the period flashbacks.
Yes.
But she can't be
by
in any
Caroline,
of them because
you can say Candice, because I love
right.